Hey, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ehsan and today we're diving into the world of server security. If you've ever wondered how to tighten your SSH server, you're in the right place. We're going to explore 7 essential steps to harden your SSH setup and keep those unwanted visitors out. So let's get started. First, let's change the default SSH port from port 22 to absolutely anything else. We have more than 65,000 ports to choose from. It's a simple tactic that deserves a lot more credit when it comes to hardening your server. Let's SSH into our server. After entering the password for root, we are in. So changing the SSH port from 22 to anything else is quite easy. Let's edit this file. Scroll down to this line, uncomment this port 22 and change it to anything that you want. So in this case, I will go with 2120. Save the file. Then we need to do daemon reload and then restart SSH. After restarting SSH daemon, we can exit our SSH connection and try connecting to the port 22. You can see that it's not reachable. Now, in order to specify a port, I need to use -p flag. Now I can log in, enter the password, and we are in. Our next step to hardening our SSH connection will be preventing root login. This is a critical step to hardening our SSH to prevent attackers from guessing our root password and then logging to our server. Now let's create a user, and this user will have access to sudo. Choose a very strong password, and everything else we can choose default. And the next step is to add this user to sudo group. With this action, our user called Ehsan can perform sudo actions. And now let's change this file again. Scroll down to permit root login and change this yes to no. Save that and do a systemctl daemon reload and systemctl restart SSH. Now, if I open a new terminal and try to log in with the root user, even if I write the type password, even if I enter the right password, I cannot log in. And the way we can log in is actually with our new user, enter the password, and then we can log in. And if I want to run any command as a sudo user, I can either do sudo, apt update and enter password for my user, or I can just do sudo su and then I will have access to sudo. So far, we were authenticating ourselves with password, which is not the safest way. At the end of the day, hackers can brute force their way into our servers, even with the strongest passwords. Instead, we can use our public key to authenticate ourselves. So let's generate an SSH key pair if you don't have already. So I will open a terminal. This is on my own machine. I will type SSH keygen, and then I will click enter all the way through. You can of course check and choose your own answers for each question, but for the sake of simplicity, I'll just hit enter all the way. After generating a key pair, now if you take a look at this directory, we can see that we have public keys right here. We can use these public keys to authenticate ourselves. Now let's copy our SSH public key into the server. We can do SSH copy ID, then specify the SSH connection port, user at IP. Now let's run it. We need to enter password. Okay, and now if I try the same SSH connection as I did before, this time I do not have to enter any passwords. Now that we can connect to our SSH server with our public key, we can remove the ability to log in with a password. So log into your server, make sure that you have root privileges, and then we need to edit this file. And if I search for password authentication, uncomment it and change it to no. Save it. If I go to Etsy SSH, okay, we have, so I can just delete this file, I don't need it. Do systemctl daemon reload and restart SSH again. Hopefully it should work. You can see that it says permission denied, public key. At number 5, we have the most interesting method to harden our SSH connection. We're going to use two-factor authentication to authenticate our SSH connection. Unrealistic, right? So let's do that. First, we need to run apt update. And after that, we need to install this package. After that, we need to edit this file, /etc/pam.d/sshd. First, we need to comment this line, include comment auth. And then at the very end of the file, add these two lines. I will put all the commands in the description. Save the file. Now we need to edit this file. First thing that I need to change is keyboard interactive authentication. Change that to yes. After that, add this line. Authentication methods, space, public key, comma, keyboard-interactive. Save this one and do another systemctl daemon reload, systemctl restart SSH. Now we need to exit our root session and go back to our user. So my user is Esan. Type Google Authenticator, choose yes, then it will give you a QR code and also a secret key. Import the secret key into the Authenticator app that you use. And you can see that I have a 6-digit authentication code. Copy that, paste that into your terminal. Make sure to write down these emergency scratch codes. For this question, choose yes. For the next one, also choose yes. This will prevent using a single code or multiple logins. For this one, choose no. And for the last one, also choose yes. And it's done. Now, if I open a new terminal and log in, you can see that I need to enter a verification code. And if I enter that, I can log in successfully. And if I enter something wrong, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it asks for another attempt. Now I will go with 6 9s. Again, it's wrong. 6 8s. And you can see I cannot log in. Now, if I do it again right this time, I can log in. Our next step to hardening our SSH server is going to be only allowing connection from a specific range of IPs. So if you have a dedicated static IP address that you can use to SSH into your machines, make sure to allow that specific IP address and block everything else. So let's try that. We can actually do that in several ways. Probably the first line of defense will be your cloud provider's configuration, and the next line of defense will be your virtual machine's configuration. For the sake of simplicity, I will only stick with the first line of defense. So head over to your cloud provider. In my case, I'm using Hetzner. Go to your server, then firewall, and create a new firewall. Now I want to specifically choose an IP address from one of my virtual machines. I want only this IP address to be allowed to SSH into that machine. Let's do 2120, which is the port that I specified earlier, and then everything else should be fine. Now create firewall. Now back to my terminal. This is my local machine. I should not be able to SSH into that machine. So when I type SSH, I'll get no response. And if I do the same in the virtual machine that I whitelisted its IP, I should be able to log in. Okay, it asks for verification code. I will enter that. And you can see that I logged in. One pro tip here, if you want to allow new machines to connect to your virtual machine, it's going to be tricky. You remember earlier we used SSH copy ID, which clearly we cannot use that since we cannot authenticate with password. So how you can do that? Actually, let's do that now. You need to copy your public SSH key like that. So in this machine, the public key is this one, and then go to one of the machines that already has access to your server. Now we need to edit this file. SSH authorized keys. You can see that first one is my local machine, and second one is the virtual machine that I'm using to connect to the other virtual machine. And just to compare it, you can see that they are identical. And number 7 on our list is fail to ban. Fail to ban is a great tool to ban any unsuccessful attempt to our SSH server. So let's install and configure it. First, make sure that you have sudo privileges, then do apt update, then apt install fail to ban. Now let's go to etc fail to ban directory. We're going to create our SSH specific configurations inside jail.d directory. Inside jail.d directory, create a file called sshd.local. First, we need to specify the block, which is sshd. Now we need to specify that this is enabled, specify the port. In our case, we are using 2120. Filter is going to be sshd, and our log path will be var log auth.log. With help of filter, fail to ban will understand unsuccessful attempts. Max retry equals to 5 means if a user has 5 unsuccessful attempts, then the user will be blocked for 3600 seconds or 1 hour. And the last one, find time, means if a user has 5 unsuccessful attempts within 600 seconds, then the user should be banned. Go ahead and save it. Now let's run this command so that the changes can take effect. And if I run systemctl status fail to ban, we can see that it is enabled. Let's run fail to ban -client status sshd. As we move forward and we receive unsuccessful attempt to log into our SSH server, these numbers will show you the status. And there you have it. We just explored 7 steps to harden our SSH connection. Doing even one of them can improve your security by far, let alone if you do all of them. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you're interested in self-hosting different services on your home server, make sure to check this playlist. Thanks for watching. Until next time.